Plus, what was it about Ted Cruz on The Tonight Show that repeatedly brought the audience to cheers? That's next.
I think Americans are deeply frustrated that Washington is broken. And I think it's a bipartisan problem. I mean, I think the biggest divide we have is not between Republicans and Democrats. It is between entrenched politicians in both parties in Washington and the American people.
Oh, sure, but, well, would you be?
Republican Senator Ted Cruz tearing it up on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. The Los Angeles crowd appearing to approve of Mr. Cruz's opposition to Obamacare and other issues. Watch.
Focus has been jobs, economic growth, and in particular Obamacare. Obamacare, it's the biggest job killer in this country. And you know, it's interesting.
Well, let me ask you something.
I'm a big believer in health care reform. I think we ought to reform health care so that it's personal, it's portable, it's affordable. We ought to empower patients rather than government bureaucrats getting between you and your doctor.
Let me ask you. Now, you're a likely candidate.
How about that? David Mamet is one of the rare conservatives in Hollywood and author of the new book, 3 War Stories, in addition to a Pulitzer Prize winner, and he won a Tony nomination for Glengarry Glen Ross, and Speed the Plow, and wrote The Verdict, and Wag the Dog, and what a pleasure to have you here, sir. Thank you so much for being here. Is Hollywood getting more conservative?
No. No, it's not.
What's happening on The Tonight Show? Is it just Obamacare, or did they just have a few pops before they went over that night?
That ain't Hollywood. That's Ted Cruz and the people in the audience. God bless them.
So those are the real people.
Well, there are different ways to convene people. You can convene people as an electorate, and they're going to think in a certain way. You can convene people as a jury to think another way, and you can convene people as an audience, and they think in a third way. So my racket as a dramatist is to convene them as an audience and to tell them a story, and I've never met a stupid audience in my life, ever. They're always smarter than I am.
Well, if that's true, then why aren't there more writers who will boldly go where very few go and write something that might be appealing to conservative audiences? It seems like most of the people out in Hollywood, correct me if I'm wrong, are liberal or at least fake it.
Well, that's true, because the people who are faking it are legitimately frightened for their jobs. But the drama is not a means to convey political views. So a conservative, I would think, and myself, I know, understand that. It's like being a psychiatrist at the party. When you're at work, you're a psychiatrist. When you go out to a dinner party, someone who says to you, "Doc, tell me about why I hate my mother," that's inappropriate. Just so when someone writes a drama, for him or her to use that drama to put forward a political belief is inappropriate. Conservatives believe in smaller government and in the power of the electorate, so I think that we're less likely to try to use a dramatic forum to warp people's political views.
Do you get pushback, though? We just had actor Vince Vaughn come out and declare himself a conservative, and people talked about how, ooh, he's out with it. He outed himself. Have you received pushback since you've declared your political views?
Well, I lost a lot of acquaintances. In fact, I lost all my acquaintances, and I lost a few of my friends. But you know, who has a bunch of good friends anyway? I still got a bunch of good friends, and the people I thought were my good friends, some of them went glimmering. But it's better to know the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. But do you find it ironic? Because you know, usually liberals pride themselves on being the most accepting group there is.
Well, it's not ironic. It's absurd. Of course they pride themselves on being the most accepting group there is. But, you know, as the rabbis say, if you're not sure what to atone for, examine your good deeds.
Yeah, here's my next question for you. You heard our interview with one of the architects of Obamacare. Your thoughts on that law, which seems to be causing quite a ruckus, even on the West Coast?
Well, that guy's screwed, because if you listen to him, he's a scientist, and he was correct in 2010, but he can't come out and answer your questions directly because he's trying to promote an agenda. So you cannot both promote an agenda and be a scientist, because the essence of science is doubt. Is to follow truth wherever it leads. And if I may, that's also the essence of drama, is to follow the truth of human interaction wherever it leads. And you can't do that while you're also trying to promote a political agenda, because you always end up with me and my tractor. You know, anybody can come out there and mouth, you know, anybody can mouth the essential verities, but so what?
Interesting.
That's no fun.
Interestingly, you've got not some of these theories, but some interesting theories in your new book, 3 War Stories, about soldiers. And
Right.
you talk about how they, in the history of our world, exist to promote the peace, something you say sometimes the left, in your words, seems to pretend not to understand. It's an interesting book to come out on Veterans Day. All the best with it, sir. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
All right.